Okay, guys, now we've talked about exponents and rules of exponents before, but I've got a couple of others that we need to add in here. Okay, and I want to take just a moment to talk about these terms again, power and exponent. Guys, if I have 5 to the third, this entire thing, the base and the exponent, is called a power. Okay, that whole thing is called a power. This number, as I just said, is called the base, and this number is the exponent. And the exponent says for us to take the base this many times, the exponent number of times, and multiply them all together. Because you'll remember, exponents are repeated multiplication. Okay, so this thing says multiply 5 3 times. Okay, the entire thing is called a power. The number that's raised in a superscript position, that's called the exponent, and the other thing down here is called a base. Okay, you guys know that already, but I just want to go through those terms again for you. Alright, now I'm going to erase this. Now, something that I want us to talk about, if you look at this number, this says, and I'll write it a little bit larger, 2x cubed. That means 2x times 2x times 2x. Okay? Now, what that means is I need to multiply all these things. This is saying 2 times x times 2 times x times 2 times x. Which, in this part, I just multiply the numbers, 2 times 2 times 2, and that gives me 8, and x times x times x, which gives me x cubed. Okay? But many of you, and I hope you have begun to see this, is that the exponent of 2 in this beginning problem is 1, and the exponent of x is 1. If I only have one term, I just have a monomial inside the parentheses, and I am raising this number to an exponent, what I do is I actually distribute the exponent into all of these other exponents. So it's 3 times 1, so I get 2 cubed. And then 3 times 1 for the x, and that gives me x cubed. There's a lot less writing. I just cube the number and cube the variable. So 2 cubed is 8. And I can't simplify x cubed. I just have to leave it as x cubed because I don't know what its value is. Okay? Now when I go to the next problem, you're going to see that this is saying negative 5y times negative 5y. When I multiply, a negative times a negative gives me positive. 5 times 5 gives me 25. And y times y is y squared. But you can also see this is the same as negative 5 squared times y squared. Now the negative is inside the parentheses, so that means it gets squared as well. So this is going to give me negative 5 times negative 5. That's positive 25 y squared. It's a lot less work, especially if this exponent's bigger than squared. Okay? But it gets distributed in. Now, here's a pitfall. Pitfall. Big star. Guys, if I have more than one term in the parentheses, if I have a binomial like this, and I want to square it, I cannot distribute the exponent in. This does not equal, here I'm going to write it here, this does not equal x squared plus 2 squared. It does not equal that. We have to separate the binomial, right, like we've been doing. We have to write it as x plus 2 times x plus 2. And you guys know when I start distributing, I'm going to get some stuff in the middle there, right, where I combine my like terms. Okay? So, remember, the only time that I can distribute the exponent to the stuff inside is when it is a monomial. We'll come back to this again, and we'll talk about it again. But only when it's a monomial. Alright? Let's see if there's something else. There is something else. Guys, I want you to take your calculator, and I want you to do two things. I want you to punch in negative 5 squared, and then also I want you to punch in parentheses negative 5 squared. Okay? Kyle, I want you to tell me, what do you get when you punch this first one in without parentheses? 25. Negative 5 squared gives you what? This gave you negative 25. When you punch in negative 5 in parentheses squared, you get positive 25. And that's because the negative gets squared with it. Be careful with that.